Hello, everyone, and welcome to the March episode of the Latest Insight podcast. For me, it sometimes feels like a long time in between the calls and then not so long at the same time. It's like this meeting point every month. Time for me to reflect and being like, okay, what is the main themes that have been going on in my own life, in my client's life, in kind of things that I pick up in the collective. And it's always a great time for me. I love these podcasts so much. So let's take a moment, no matter what you're doing, just do it in the way that you can to relax a little bit deeper and connect to the breath a little bit. And just notice how you're sitting, how you are right now. Is there a way that you can relax the hips and just let your body loosen up a little bit more? And just noticing and following your breath in and out. In and out. And throughout the call, throughout your day, you can see if you can relax the body a little bit deeper. You can see if you can allow yourself to focus on the breath. So supportive. Great. So being able to be however you want when you listen to this podcast, and I hope that it serves you deeply. For those who are just joining my world, my name is Elizabeth Finocchiaro, and I am a breath worker, a guide, and a teacher, supporting people to create more ease in their lives. When we are going for things in our world, I work with mostly creative, spiritual, intuitive people that have a bit of a leadership energy. They want to create something, they want to do something, and they're not afraid of going against maybe the normal narrative, or they're really leading something within themselves, within their life, within their work. And what comes with that is the importance of being ahead of the things that you're doing. If you fall behind, so if you're working harder than you're feeling, emotionally available for, you are going to get tired. You are going to, it's not sustainable. So I'm all here for the sustainability in getting our work out into the world, being creative, doing all the things that you want to do, and also having it be sustainable. This is my passion. This is my vibe. So that welcome to my world. There's many different ways of working together, and I'll be talking about a couple today, but this podcast is all about the latest insights. So I have some notes and I have some things I want to talk about today, and I hope they serve you deeply. I'm also very grateful for all the feedback when you guys send me messages, and I know there's people listening to this that I don't even know are listening to this. So hello. Everyone. All right. So today I'm going to bring up my notes here, and those are not the right notes. I have a couple things that I want to share. And first, acknowledging that there is an equinox this week. So in the Northern Hemisphere, we're going into the spring energy, and this is such a beautiful time of year, a season that I think many people love because of what it represents. It represents rebirth. It represents, blossoming. It represents growing, kind of awakening from this winter reflection, resting, clarity energy. We talked in the last, I think it was the last episode or the episode before that. I touched on it quite a bit throughout the winter of really realizing that winter is not just this, it is a resting time, but it's not just like don't do anything time, but it's more of a vision time. It's more of a clarity. Like I feel like winter is all about clarity and spring is all about rebirthing. It's all about blossoming and growing. And you can experience, at least I experience this, that things tend to speed up in the spring. And I love the analogy of a garden. So in the winter, we are planning the garden. We are wondering, what are we going to grow this year? And this is a metaphor for life. What are we going to grow? What are we going to do? What did I learn last year? What did I like? What didn't I like? And then now it's time to get to work. I was going for a walk the other day and I'm becoming friends with this older woman in this neighborhood area because she's always out when I'm walking and she's always talking to me and I love it because yeah, it's nice to talk to strangers and she seems a bit lonely and so now we're friends. And she was saying, and we were talking about the spring and she goes, yeah, now there's so much to do now. Like now we're kind of getting out of that resting point now. It's like yard work, garden, like there's just more energy. And that's really what I feel with the spring as well. Not only practically, but also like emotionally, spiritually, mentally, like things seem to just be going faster. And there's so much to do. And I think that's why the winter is so important to really reflect and envision so that you're ready for the spring. So there is going to be an equinox ceremony inside of the Breathe Live membership on Thursday. So really looking forward for that to really anchor in the energy and to help and support the transition into the spring. So that's something to look forward to. And it's also available to join just the equinox ceremony. So you don't have to be inside of Breathe Live, but if you join Breathe Live, you get that plus, 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 plus so much value. But you can just join the equinox ceremony. So that is going to be at 11 Central European time on Thursday, March 20th. So I am hoping that you are feeling this, excitement, maybe some energy moving and time maybe is going a bit faster, or, there's kind of like this loosening up energy, perhaps. We're all experiencing things very differently, but that's kind of the wisdom and the medicine of spring. So lately, last week, I started to do my own breathwork sessions. So it's not like I just started. So I've been doing this for many years and I have had many years and phases of having a really good routine with breathwork sessions. Obviously, being a breathworker myself and a breathwork trainer and all these things, I know the benefits of this work. And I would do 2 sessions a month, minimum 1 session a month. And then there was times in my life where I would do 1 session a week, 2 sessions a week, or even times in my life where I would do a session every day for a week or 2 weeks. And throughout the years, noticing when I do this and why I do it is very interesting because it's always when I'm going through a shift, a rebirth, kind of the spring energy that I'm talking about, and why it's almost like this subconscious part of me knows that the breath is a path of lesser resistance and that is like the perfect vessel or the perfect modality to move the energy, to get support. And I always get really grateful and happy when this happens because resistance to getting in the body, resistance to doing inner work, resistance to meditation or doing things that you know are good for you is such a thing, right? For those who are live on the podcast, let me know if you've experienced this. Like the resistance is such a thing that we all feel. And I've been interested in this since I was very young. Why do humans resist the things that they know are good for them? This for me is like a very heated, or not heated, but what do you call it? A very not heavy or heated. Yeah, anyway, it's a very big question. very different layers. Why do we resist the things that are good for us? What is going on? Like, why weren't we just born wired for success? Why weren't we just born wired for fulfillment and, you know, ready to do the things that are good for us, to do the things we know are good, and to kind of just like in general do good? What is this other part of us that keep us down, keep us small, keep us kind of comfortable? And this can be looked at in many different angles. And I guess like the most like general way I could say right now is because of conditioning, because of what we've been told, because of certain environments we've been in, because of the need to fit in. Like if you start excelling in your life, what would that mean? Maybe some people would be left behind. You don't want to leave people behind. You're not someone who does that. So then don't excel so that you don't leave people behind. So there's a lot of stories at play to why we don't do the things that are good for us. There can also be because when you do the things that are good for you, it's going to require this, this, and this. Or when you do the things that are good for you, it's going to give you an insight that's going to break down another part of you. So we have so many different parts within us. And I think this healing modality of like parts work and constellation work is really booming right now because it's hitting in a really good way. We're realizing that it's not just enough to want something. I also have to acknowledge all the parts of myself that don't want. I have to acknowledge the part that wants it, and I have to acknowledge the part that don't want it, that doesn't want it. And all these pieces of myself need to be like on the same team. And then I need to learn to relax the voices. I need to learn to not listen to that. And I need to learn to, like, it's like an orchestra. We're really like an orchestra. And there's so many different instruments, there's so many different harmonies that I think we work best when we are in harmony, when we are, synced up. And that means that some of the instruments need to be tuned differently. And maybe some instruments need to not be playing at that time, or maybe even some instruments need to be switched out. So there's a lot of reasons why we resist breath work, for example, or why we resist meditation, or why we resist connecting to our body. And I really think it's this whole like comfort zone. It's this whole feeling of I'm good where I am, like really like this is where I'm at. So for those who are live, let me know if this is resonating with you all. So this whole like comfort zone energy, I think, is a bit nuanced, because I don't know about you, but I want to be comfortable in my life. Like I want to be relaxed. Like I want to be laid back. I want to feel regulated. I want to feel calm. I want to feel rested. But I also want to raise the bar. Like I want to grow. I want to evolve, because and this is so nuanced, because I know so many people are getting turned off by this whole like really gotta keep growing, gotta keep doing, like this very much go, go, go energy. I get turned off by it, but it depends where it's coming from, because I also get turned on by expansion, by growing beyond something, because the dreams that you have, a lot of us, just going to be really real with you, a lot of the dreams that you have are going to require like a more expanded version of you. Like you're going to have to hold more. And it's not saying that you have to like push and force and like become this different version of yourself, but you are going to have to like energetically be able to hold more energy. And I'll tell you a little story. So as many of you know, I obviously am running my company. It's full time. It is a lot of moving parts to it. There's a lot of different things to it. And when you have a small business and are the main person, there's many hats, right? Like head of marketing, the head, the face of the brand, the teacher, the behind the scenes, the customer care. Like there's many different hats. So it can feel a bit, I wouldn't say overwhelming, that's not the word, but it is expansive. And to grow a business, you do need to grow your energy to hold more. If you cannot hold what you are going through right now, you're not going to get more of whatever it is that you want. We really have to learn to hold what we have right now with grace. And I have this alarm clock every morning that says, when you can hold it, you can have it. You can hold it, you can have it. I wake up to that every single morning. When you can hold it, you can have it. So sometimes we get it in our hands and it just slips through, or we get it and it's like a hot potato and we give it right back. Like, huh, I can't handle that. So the more you can handle, the more you can hold, the more you can have energetically. And so with the company, it's like, if sometimes it feels like a lot to hold, but at the same time, if I want to grow my company, whatever I have right now, I should be able to hold with my eyes closed, basically. And so that's a process. And on top of that, some of you know this, some of you don't know this, but I am very heavily involved in my grandmother's life. So I take care of a lot of things for her, like so many logistics, almost not all, but almost all of her logistics for her life. And I'm really like the main person for things. And I also manage a little team that helps and takes care of her. So I am the one that they talk to for everything they wonder about. I set up procedures, I set up routines, I set up hours. I'm kind of like this manager, like this leader of this little team. And a couple weeks ago, something was happening. There were some shifts. And I had this feeling of like, is this too much for me? Like, I have my business and then I'm leading this little team. Is this too much? And then I had this outside perspective of being like, because we all have dreams, we all have goals, we all have visions of what we want. And I kind of thought about the version of me that I want to expand into in my life, slowly at my own time. There's no rush, there's no push, but I know that I want to keep growing. That's just something I know. And I thought, the version of me that wants everything that I want, like all the moving pieces of my vision, could she handle this? Like managing a little team and managing a business? And the answer was yes right away. So for me, it was a bit silly. Like, I kind of laughed at myself to think that I couldn't handle that. I was like, of course I can handle this. What am I doing? It's like like these, like, what do you call it when you opt out? It's like wanting to opt out of situations because it's too much for me. But then realizing, is it too much, or do I just need to, expand the energy and hold a little bit more? And I think this is something that happens a lot in our lives, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. You are given certain things where, instead of rising to the occasion and being like, I got this, how can I learn more? How can I delegate more? How can I support myself more? How can I, whatever, be more proactive to being able to hold more? Instead, being like, nope, I can't do it. I'm tired, I'm this, I'm that, I don't have energy, I don't have this, I don't have that. I'm not saying that you have to take on everything. That's not what I'm saying at all. And that you have to be this like person that you're not. Like, it's not about lying and saying like, I got this, I'll do that. It's about really tuning into your energy and being like, but do I want to be someone who can handle this? Or do I want to tell the story that I couldn't handle this? And there will be things that you can't handle and you don't want to handle, and you can tell the story with integrity or with like your heart and be like, yeah, I didn't want to handle that. It didn't feel right. I didn't want to. But if in the end of the day you look back and think, I wish I do want to be someone who can handle that. I actually, that fits my vibe, it fits my vision. Then I would ask questions of, but how can I handle it then? Like, how can I support, like I said, delegate, whatever, to be able to hold it. So then, with this being said, how do we feel ease and growth at the same time? How do we feel, laid back, connected to the body? have some sort of comfort and this feeling of expansion. Because usually when we think of the word expansion, we think of like contraction almost. It's like they're just like, I'm getting, and then, or when you think of comfortable, you think of nothing moving. So they feel like oxymorons. Like, how do you stay comfortable and grow? Because everyone's telling us it's not possible. You have to get out of your comfort zone, right? So I think this is individual and something that you can reflect on. Like, how do you stay in your body and in your growth at the same time? You have to find that dance for yourself. Because if you only stay in the comfortability, there is there's like this plateau energy, because we learn mostly through experience, and getting yourself into experiences usually require some sort of courage. So really asking yourself this question, reflecting, meditating on this, how do I still lean into an edge and still stay connected to my body? Where are you finding safety? And this conversation is so nuanced, because there's some personality types that are constantly on the edge, and that's their safety. Like, the safety is the unknown. And other people are not even, they don't even know where their edge is, because the safety is the known. So how can you have that nice connection to both the unknown and the known? Because I think it's important to be solid with yourself and be able to, be connected to the body and be able to not be out of your like window of tolerance all the time. But are you also connected to your edge as well? Going a little bit like, ooh, that was a little bit vulnerable, or that was a little bit, edgy. How can you get a little bit edgy and also know where to rest in the known and the unknown? Would love for you to reflect on that. And maybe today or tomorrow, this week, lean into something that is a little bit edgy. And you could start somewhere where you feel very safe. You could start somewhere like maybe in your relationship, if you're in a safe relationship, which I really hope you all are. Maybe you can lean into something that feels a little bit like, ooh, this is a bit out of my normal, way of being, but I want to try on this type of way of communicating. Or maybe even in the way that you dress, or the way that you show up to something, or the way that you speak about something. Like, how can you lean a little bit more into an edge, a little bit more into a ooh? And if you are constantly on the edge, how can you lean more into something that is really known, really safe, really feeling like in the body? I'm trying to think of an example, but I guess it would be, because I feel like personally, I'm definitely someone that is very comfortable in the known, but I also am, and I've had experiences of going to my edge and the edge really tipping me over. And so this is a dance for me that I'm also trying to figure out myself, and I'm experiencing myself, and that's why I'm bringing it up here in the podcast, because everything is through my own life and lived experience. Because I've gone through opportunities in my life where doing what I did was such an edge and such a growth that my baseline was not ready for it. It's like a slingshot, but I went back really far, but I shot really far, but the lashback, or I don't know if that was a good example, but it's like there was repercussions to that took me a lot of time to repair from. Would I be without the experience? I actually don't know. I was thinking about this yesterday. I'm like, do I regret the moments that I put myself way out of my comfort zone and had to repair quite a lot after that? Do I regret that? And I'm like, I really don't know. Because part of me, there's like a yes, because I could have not done that, and I wouldn't have had to repair all the time that I did after. But then I would be without that experience. And so it's kind of like, trying to live with no regrets, you know? But it's beautiful to learn these lessons, and maybe sometimes you don't really know the edge until you go there. I'm not saying that you have to go beyond your edge to learn, but it is a classic learning technique. Like just go a little bit too far, then you kind of find your spots. And that's something I'm very interested in, is like finding my sweet spot with my edge and not just being in the comfort. So there's another story. It's not my personal story, but I was listening to it was a podcast, and I honestly I don't remember the name of the podcast right now, but there was a man sharing, he was a guest, and he was sharing about his wife, and they had a business. It was a supplement product business, and it was a very, very big business. And he was saying that throughout time, because they own the business together, that whenever there was a decision, this woman would always lean into the harder decision, would always lean into the harder decision, and how that over years has proven to actually give the most yield from it, just learning potential from growth, both financially and personally. And this really spoke to me, to be the person who chooses the hard choice. And it's very ironic in many ways, because I am somebody who promotes ease. I am somebody who always talks about the path of less resistance, and that it doesn't have to be hard. Like we can learn through gentle, loving, and kind ways. But this story really spoke to me, and I thought, this woman in one way is like really showing her courage and her strength by saying, like, I'm going to choose the hard way. And it's not saying that, yeah, I think there's like so many nuances, and I know you can hear this when I'm saying it. I know you guys are getting it, because it's not about being hard on yourself. I think that's actually the harder thing. The psychological hardness is harder than the actual obstacle hardness and we don't get that, because a lot of us live in the psychological hardness, the being hard on ourselves, the punishing, the guilt, the shame, the anxiety, the doubt, the all of these things are actually, I would say, a lot harder than the task at hand. And a lot of us compound it. So we'll feel like the task at hand is hard. Sure, it can be. Like there's definitely things that are not that easy to deal with, and we're going to require skill and courage and strength. But if you compound that with doubt, shame, guilt, worry, anxiety, punishment, like you're just making it maybe like 100 times harder. So I think there's important to distinguish between the internal hardships and the external hardships. And after you heal a lot of this internal hardships, and you also heal it through doing the external as well. So it's we're always learning. But if you can relax the internal hardships, I think the task at hand becomes easier. And I really love this perspective of not always choosing the easy route, not always choosing the easy thing. And again, this is like so nuanced, and we could really break this down. And I'm sure if like a psychologist was listening to this podcast, they would be like, this and that and this, like there's so many parts to this. But just see how that feels in your body, and see if like for the next week or so, when you get decisions and when you get just see, like, are you taking the easy way out? Are you avoiding the work? Are you avoiding the uncomfortability? Are you avoiding the kind of ugly stuff? Are you just wanting things to be easy? Are you just wanting things to be, like given to you? Or are you actually willing to kind of like wrinkle the forehead and try to figure things out? I think so many people want things given to them, And that's obviously the easiest thing possible to get something is to be given it. It's obviously like that is the easiest way. You want something? Here, I have it. You don't need to do anything. I already have it. Take it. And there's going to be so many things in life that are going to be given to you, but not everything. And I don't think it's something to depend on. Depend on it being given to you. Like, I think it's so important to interact and make an effort and lean in and not add the compounding internal hardships. So, how do we dissolve doubt? How do you dissolve shame? How do you dissolve punishment? How do you dissolve worry and anxiety and all of these things? That's going to look different for every single one of us. And you can get support with that. I really recommend getting support with those type of conversations and those type of healing work. And that is what I wanted to share. And I feel like this podcast is a bit like like kind of giving to you a little bit harder today. But I guess when I speak about this energy of maybe you are putting your bar a bit low. And when I have this feeling to say these things, the energy can come a little bit more fierce because I'm speaking to a part of you that perhaps has set the bar a bit low. And to wake that part up, it usually requires a bit of clarity. It requires a bit of fierceness of being like, wake up, notice you're putting the bar too low. How can you step up a little bit more? How can you hold a little bit more? You are cheapening your own experience. So it comes with this energy of, come on, like, let's do this. Which I don't have like all the time in my work. I am not always like this. It just comes in flavors and phases. So how can you set the bar higher for yourself from an empowered place? Not a guilted place of being like, I should do more, I should be better, I should be farther. Like, that's guilt. It's more like, where do I want to be? And where am I not meeting myself in that place? Where am I not leaning in? And be excited. I think excitement is so underrated as adults. Kids are so great with excitement, but when we get older, I feel like excitement just like it kind of dwindles because we know the repercussions, or we know that, well, it might not work. So if I get excited, that's embarrassing. People see me excited and then this happens. Like, that's, like, we kind of, kids are more like, I'm just excited. I don't care. I'm just like there's so much more in the moment, but we're like thinking about, but if it doesn't work, correcting. And so if you can connect back to this excitement in your life about where you're going and what you're holding and what you can hold, I think there's incredible energy there for you, and it will make everything feel easier. So even if you're up to a challenge or something going on, something you're leaning into, but you're excited about kind of the energy moving, you're excited about what you're going to learn, you're excited about the challenge, then you're in a really good place. If you're excited instead of worried, you're in a very, very, very good place in your life. Turning fear into excitement, incredible. I actually have a meditation on this that we can link into the show notes. Fear to excitement, which is such a practice that I had for many years, actually, with this energy of like, what's the difference between fear and excitement? And it's usually breathing. Fear is like this, and excitement is also this, but one is a bit more connected to the breath. The other one is more of a stop, freeze type of energy. So, okay, that was a big thing that I wanted to say. There's one more kind of big insight. It's not that big, but, or the size doesn't matter. But it's about returning without guilt. So I was just talking now about this internal challenges that we have that seem to be bigger than external challenges. Like I was sharing with my experience with my grandmother, the challenge was not that big. Like the task at hand, if I really look at it, I almost laughed at myself and I was like, I think I can't handle this and I want this and this and this in my life and I can't handle this. Like that's funny for me. For me. I'm able to laugh at myself and being like, okay, like we need a reality check. If I think this is hard and then my vision board's like farm and a big like animals and family and traveling and business and all these things that require so much energy and I can't handle this, like needed a little reality check. So see if you have a little reality check in your life as well. But what I was doing in that moment, I was allowing the internal challenges to be bigger than my external challenges. So I was letting overwhelm, tiredness, capacity, energy, like I was letting these things be like really blown up and being like, oh, it's going to be too much for my energy and my whatever. Instead of being like, but I can do this. Like it's fine. So guilt is such a doubt, guilt, shame, all of these things. They are extra burdens that we hold that are holding you back from so much. And I am not saying that I live guilt, shame, doubt free at all. I'm just saying that I've noticed throughout my time of working with people and myself that this is really huge hindering blocks. And especially when it comes to our personal practices that are supposed to make us feel regulated, rested, inspired, creative, healthy, vital, honest, authentic, like all of these incredible qualities. And we've fallen out of practice. Haven't done the session in a while, haven't really taken care of yourself that much, haven't really, leaned into your own, filling your own cup. And then you punish yourself on top of that. I should do this. I should know better. Instead of just returning. And I have this beautiful teaching that I share every year because it comes up in my memories as my posts. And it's about when you have gone a bit out, just return. When you've lost hope and now it's starting to come back, just return. When and I wrote this whole thing, it's very beautiful. I should have had it prepared for this call, but it's all about returning without shaming or guilting yourself. And this is really a big, big change that happened in my life. Where if I fell out of a practice and one morning I wanted to meditate, I was like, I just returned. I returned almost as if nothing happened because my heart and my soul don't punish. The mind punishes because it remembers and kind of calculates safety. But my heart and my soul don't punish. My heart and soul are always happy to have me back. And I think in life as well, if you're coming from the right place, reparation is always possible. So if you have failed, if you have made mistakes, if you have gone against your own values, if you've gone against your own your word to yourself, so your your trust in yourself is quite low. So you said you were going to do all these things and you didn't do them. So now you don't really trust yourself. That's a really important one to clean up and to work on. And just knowing that tomorrow you can wake up or right now you can just start again. Coming from the right energy, everything is repairable. But if you continue punishing yourself, the energy of repair and punish are on two different frequencies. One second. So my throat is a bit dry. I don't know what's going on. I have these moments, like these spurts, where I'm like, there's just so much to say, there's so much to share, there's so much that wants to come out. I'm having that moment right now. So, as I'm getting to the end of this podcast, I do want to share that, I'm hoping that if you have fallen out of your practice a little bit, or if you have if you've been feeling a little bit out of integrity or not really trusting yourself that much, you've been not, staying true to your word, or there's been certain things where you're a little bit like disappointed about, I really want you to see if you can just return, if you can just come back stronger, if you can just come back, ready for this, more expanded, more strong part of yourself. So, how can you return without punishing, without guilting yourself? This skill is so important to have as we grow and as we hold more in our lives, because you're not going to be able to hold more if you are simultaneously creating more to hold in your head, right? Like these internal things I was talking about. So there's a couple things going on in the brand that can really support you if you're feeling the call. And I just want to talk about two things. Something that's becoming so clear for me, two things. One is that in our world of working with creation, working with, our desires, wanting to hold more, what I realize is that I am best when I am ahead of it, when I'm feeling like my cup is full or even overflowing. So if I have my visions and my goals or things that I want to have or experience or contribute with or create, and it's here. So for those who are watching the audio, my hand is just in a random place, but I want to be above it, like spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, like I need to be above it. And I remember a partner many years ago saw the way that I was doing things. I was leading workshops and I was like just obsessed with my work. And he said, remember, your self-care has to be above what you give to people. Like you have to be above what you give to people. Because if you're not, it can still work. But at one point, you're probably going to hit a wall and you're going to have burnout, or you're going to have whatever as you experience through being depleted. So I have a membership called Breathe Live where that's what it's all about. It's really about staying connected to your breath while you are doing your work in the world. It's about getting ahead of things. It's about creating a space where you maintain your energy to be ahead of what you are doing, so that you can have a bigger capacity, so that you can become stronger, so that you can dissolve the internal hardships and be ahead of the things that you're doing in your life. So Breathe Live is a membership you can join whenever. It is $99 a month, and you can stay 1 month, you can stay forever, and it's just an incredible space to get sessions more frequently into your life. I guide 2 live sessions a month, 1 masterclass, and I make a custom meditation. And there are bonuses in Breathe Live. You get the Telegram membership, you get Fundament, you get Liminal, you get a lot of extra bonuses that are thousands of dollars worth of value. And this is an amazing place to be. Sorry, my voice is really, something's happening. This hasn't happened in a long time. So if you want more information or you have any questions, please reach out. I would love to support And then the last thing I want to share is my Rebirth Mastermind that's coming up in April. And this is for you if you are feeling what I was talking about in the beginning of this podcast, that there is this like spring energy and you really want to lean into your practice and you want to lean into this like momentum of doing things that are good for you. And you kind of want to break through the noise of I'll do it later, or yeah, all these different excuses of why we don't do what's good for us. And the Rebirth Mastermind is designed to really support you through breaking through this resistance and getting back into an incredible practice that's going to help you relax the mind, relax the body, and again, fill the cup. But not only just fill the cup, but really kind of bring you to that next place in a very fast way. So it's a 4-week mastermind. Every week there's going to be a breathwork session. So you're going to have weekly sessions, and I'm going to recommend to do as many sessions as you feel called to do. So some people in the group might be doing sessions every day. Some might be doing every other day, 2 times a week, 1 time a week, 3 times a week. So you're really going to be like jump starting into the spring, and you're going to be jump starting into the sessions so that energy can really move for you. So if you're going through some transition, if you're feeling like there's some new energy that wants to come through me and I really want to solidify it, I really want to land in this new place, this is going to be an incredible space for you. So there's 10 spots for this mastermind, and there's also a chat Monday to Friday where there's coaching and you can ask me questions and we can go into your specific desires and whatever you are going through or whatever challenges you are facing. There's going to be time in between to talk about these inside the chat. So those are some of the things that are happening. You can always, join and check out what's going on social media. I always post there, and also on my website where I try to keep the latest things going on so you guys are informed. So I'm sending so much love. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. I hope there was something here for you that you can take with you. And I will see you where we are next connected. Bye, everybody.